welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. I got the day right today, well done me, and a puzzle that I am quite scared of. The puzzle on the screen is called Highway to the Danger Zone, which... is that from Top Gun? Is this some sort of Maverick? I've just heard Maverick. It's by Jay Dyer, by the way, so it's by an absolutely bona fide genius. She is an incredible, incredible Sudoku constructor. And the reason I'm trying this is that lots of you have tried it, and apparently you can't do it. I may not be able to do it, but I am going to give it a go for you. And I'm just thinking about the title, actually. It's the Top Gun thing, isn't it? The Danger Zone. I think it is. I don't know whose music that is, though. Oh, no, I'm not sure I do know who. Highway to... I might not even be correct, but Highway to the Danger Zone is making me think Top Gun, which is making me think Maverick. And that's totally discombobulated me. But anyway, it's got an amazing rule set, this one. I have read it through. I think I understand it, but I'm not totally sure. There's a lot going on in this puzzle. And I have to warn you as well. I'm starting this at 10 to 12, and at about 20 to 2 I have to leave the house to go and meet somebody, so if this is a really long video, I will have to pause after about an hour and 50 minutes of it. For that I apologise, but hopefully I will be able to do it. Hopefully I'll knock it off in 45 minutes, and I will wonder why everyone's worried about it, but we'll have to see. I somehow doubt it. Now, what else do I want to tell you about before we kick off today? I've got a birthday to do. I'm going to say a very happy birthday to Dawn, who's turned 41 today, and Dawn watches every day. And, well, unfortunately for Dawn, she's not sure whether she's getting chocolate cake today, but I'm delighted to tell you that Dawn confirms that she always eats her mother's chocolate cake by eating the sponge first and then eating the icing, which is absolutely the correct way to do it. Effectively, if we're all really honest, the sponge is a waste of calories, and just eat more icing. Dawn also kindly asked for a shout out to Simon, whose birthday it is tomorrow, so happy birthday, Simon. And then also I've got to wish a happy 4th anniversary to Zach and Billy Joe. And apparently Billy Joe watches every day. I don't think she's convinced Zach yet to watch every day, but you work on that, Billy Joe. And thank you for watching, and a very happy 4th anniversary to you both. I think that's a course of a cake, isn't it? And then the only other thing I wanted to mention, which I've been mentioning over the last few days, is our new Sudoku hunt, which is available on Patreon at the moment. It's the Planet Suite. Have I got a picture for you? Yes, I do. There we go. It's the Planet Suite. There's a picture of what it's all about. And if you do manage to finish the whole thing, you have the opportunity to submit your answer and be in with a chance of winning the competition, and also to share a planetary fact with us. And we are going to read out some of the ones we really like. And today I'm going to read you out a planetary fact from Ryan Walker. And this fact I actually found, I'm struggling to believe this is true, but the fact is that Mercury is actually the nearest neighbour to every planet in our solar system. Is that really right? And apparently this is true when you take into account orbital dynamics, apogees and perigees, which are very good cryptic crossword words, by the way, to find the relative distances between the planets as they circumnavigate the Sun. So there we go. We've all learnt something new today, well, apart from Ryan. Although we do have a lot of rocket scientists and even NASA scientists who watch the channel, so probably lots of you knew that already, but I didn't. Anyway, let's have a look at Highway to the Danger Zone, and let's see what Jay Dyer has created for us this time. So these are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Divide the entire grid into killer cages, each of which is a set of orthogonally connected cells. Each cell contains exactly one clue. Right, okay. Which may be in any position in the cage. Right, so normally by convention, a killer Sudoku cage always has its clue cell in its top leftmost corner. I think we're being told that doesn't apply in this puzzle. And the clue gives the sum of the digits in the cage. Well, that's normal. Digits may not repeat within the cage. That's normal. Single cell cages are allowed. That's normal-ish. And here we get to the bit that is not normal. Then, or during, we have to draw a single loop through the centres of some cells with no branches or crossings, which visits each cage exactly once. The loop moves orthogonally from cell to cell. Okay, so what the loop doesn't do then is anything like that. That was not allowed because this is moved diagonally between cells. Orthogonally means across an edge, basically. If two cells share an edge but are in different cages, at least one of them must be visited by the loop. I mean, that's bonkers. And the digit in a clued cell equals the number of cells in that cage which are visited by the loop. Right. Oh, I was just looking at that thinking that doesn't make sense because that was a 16, but that's okay. The 16 is not, no, the 16 is not counting. It's not saying there are 16 loop cells in that cage. Let's just think about what this cage is saying. This cage is telling us that there are, right, there is a cage here which we have to work out the shape of, the contents of which add up to at least 17. And the digit in this cell, let's make it a 3, is saying that the loop... Oh, no, I don't want to restart my device. Bitdefender, don't. The loop as it goes into this cage takes in 3 cells. Yeah, and there's a country road type consideration here as well, because what it says is, it says each cage, blah blah blah, it says the loop visits each cage exactly once. So when we do draw the loop through this cage, what we couldn't do is something like that, I think, because the loop has visited this purple cage now twice. It visited it in the domino at the top, and then it revisited it in this single cell here. So I think that when you go into a cage, you've got to sort of collect as many cells as you can before you leave it, or as many cells as you're told to take in before you leave it. So it's a really mad rule set. There's a lot going on, but do have a go. Jay's puzzles are brilliant. And the way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I've got 1 hour 43 minutes to do this before I need to leave the house. Now, greater than 17. So whatever that is, let's put it red in the corner. That's got to be part of the cage, hasn't it? That's got to all be a cage. In fact, it's got to extend more than that because it's greater than 17. So it's at least an 18 cage. An 18 cannot be done in 2 cells because 8 and 9 add up to 17. 3. But this could be a... No, right. I can't write in a digit, but I can write in a pencil mark. That cell is a 1 or a 2. And I think that's because, that's because it can't be a 3. Because if it was a 3, it would be a single cell cage. But the 3 in this cell would be saying that within this cage you have to put 3 loop cells in the cage, but there would only be one loop, only one cage cell, so you couldn't be 3 loop cells. So this is a 1 or a 2. And there's a 1 or a 2 in one of those squares to complete this cage. And, okay, and then we don't know, well, whatever this is will determine how many cells in this 3 cage are visited by the loop. Greater than 20, there are quite a lot of these inequality clear. Less than 45, I mean, that is the most ludicrously small amount of information. So that one, I mean, imagine that was a 44. That would be an 8-cell cage, but it could be a 1, perhaps. I don't know if it can be a 1 with this, but it might be able to be. this one basically has a lot of latitude. Greater than 28. I mean, that's a lot of cells. Maybe what we need to do is at least to assign colours to these cages so that they're all different, because we do know we've got to tile the whole grid with cages, don't we? So, I see, we've got 244 cages in box. This is probably where I should have started. For some reason that one caught my eye. Right, 244 cages. Now we have an opportunity to avail ourselves of a secret. Now, the secret is something I only tell my favourite people. But if you're watching this video, you're certainly in that group. You're in that set of the Venn diagram. Now, the secret is that any complete row, any complete column, and any complete box of a Sudoku contains the digits 1 to 9 once each, and therefore sums to 45. So, if there were any 9-cell cages in this grid, they would sum to 45, because they would contain all of the digits 1 to 9, because you can't repeat a digit in a cage. So how does a 44 cage work? Well, it must have 8 digits in it, and it must only be missing the digit 1. So these are both 8-cell cages, right? Now, and they're different because that's what the rules said. We only get to put one clue cell in each cage. Now, does that mean this one goes through there and that one goes through there, or not? I don't think that. Right, we better put some colours on this. Let's make that one blue, and we'll make that one green, my favourite, a fluorescent green. Now, if blue went through here, that feels like, well, it's clearly the case. This hasn't got enough room to be 8 cells large. So blue does not go through there. Now, in order to leave enough room for this to reach a total of 8, then it's got to get out through here. And this green one, which must be 8 cells, has to take this cell. And even if it took all 7 of those, it would have to take this cell. So we are getting some traction here. Now, how many cells? So the blue cage, I think the maximum number of cells that blue could take in box 1 is 5, because it can't take this one as well, because that would mean that the green would be cut off from itself. So if it took 5 cells, 6 cells, so it's still got to take those 2 cells, the blue cage. Now what's this? Greater than 11. So that's at least a 12. So that's at least 2 cells. Let's make that orange. Now, okay, so that's just taken away one of the cells that blue could have had. 6, 7. So blue's got to come at least to here now. Right, and we've got a 16 cage here. Oh, I've just had a thought about that. I was about to, well, I am still going to do it. I'm going to draw in 2 cells there for the 16 cage. But could it be a 2-cell 16 cage? And the answer must be no, because it would be a 7-9 pair, and we'd have to put 7 cells on the loop in a 2-cell cage, or 9 cells on the loop in a 2-cell cage, and that won't work. So this cage needs to grow. This cage is a 36 cage. That's got to be at least 6 cells large, because 9, 8, 7, 6 and 5 only add up to 35. So that's got to come down. I'm running out of colours here. I'm going to repeat a colour. I might repeat red on the basis that, well, no, actually, what's the safest colour to repeat? Oh, yellow is the safest, because that cage can only go to one of those 2 places. So it would be unlucky if these yellow cages bumped into each other. Right, so the green cage now is 7 at most. If I took all of the white cells available, so it must come one further down. that, do I put, oh no, okay, I was about to say, do I put 8 in here because that's the size of the cage? No, I don't, because that would require 2 8s in box 1, and it's not what the rules say that the cage cells are. The cage cells are the number of cells in the loop in the cage, not the size of the cage. Yes, because otherwise, yeah, otherwise I could have said that this couldn't be a 2 cell cage, because if that was a 2, that would have had to have been a nut. Well, if that was 2 9, it still wouldn't have reached a count of 12. Actually, this cage is not, it's not a very big cage. It's greater than 11, but it can't come to there, can it? Because if it took those cells, it would cut green off. In fact, look, we could see this. Green has to connect to itself, so that's got to be green. So this cage is either 2... Well, hang on. Hang on. I'm getting myself muddled up here. How could this be a 2 cell cage? No, it's, all right. It's a bit like this one. This is such a weird rule. But basically, this can't be a 2 cell cage. Because for it to be a 2 cell cage, the number of cells that the loop visits in it would be 1 or 2. So this digit would be 1 or 2. And that makes this cell unfillable, because we have to make the cage add up to 12. And if that's a 1 or a 2, that would have to be a double-digit number. This is massive, so this has to go here. This square is a maximum of 3 now, because it's counting however many cells there are in this thing. In this thing here. This here thing that are on the loop, and that cannot be more than 3. Alright, so that's got to be green. Now, how many greens have we got? We've got 6, and we need 8. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got a maximum of 7 blues if we sucked that one into blue. So blue definitely has to grow, but we don't know whether it grows in one of those directions. Oh, greater than 16 here, and that's probably safe to make that one red. Probably. Oh, 18. Right. Well, that's got to be of some size, hasn't it? That's at least 3 cells. So that's got to come down at least 2 cells. I'm going to make that blue on the basis that this blue looks like it'll be hard to bump into this 18. Now, what's this? Less than 6. So this is... Oh no, there are other less than clues, but this is less than 6. So... right. I feel like that means this cell is a 1 or a 2. But I am not sure about that. Because if this was a 3, it would be a 3 cell cage and it would add up to at least 6, and that's not going to work. Well, let's be precise. If it was a 3, it would be saying it's at least a 3 cell cage. It's not saying it is a 3 cell cage. Right, so this is a 1 or a 2, which does make a pair in this column. But we don't know. I think this could be a 1 cell cage. I see, and if it's a 1 cell cage, it contains a 1, does it? Because it must contain the only... If it contained any other number other than 1, it'd be saying that more cells in it were on the loop than could actually exist within it. So if it's a 1 cell cage, it is a 1. Which, might be interesting. What's that then? Oh, this is right. Okay, well, this is classic Jay Dyer. This is brilliant. Right, the answer to that is I haven't got a clue what that is, except it's blue or green. So it's one of them, because if it was another colour, it couldn't get to its own clue. So that's a blue or a green. But that begs the question: where do we put the 1 in box 1? And now with the 1-2 pair here, we know it's not there. So it's here. That is a 1. It's the only place 1 can go, because we can't put 1 in 44 in a 44 cage, and all this box has got in it is 44 cages, except where we've got this 11 clue, greater than 11 clues. So now, if this was 12, hang on, if that's... Yeah, that's a shame. I thought I could get this digit, but I think it can still be 8. 8 plus 3 plus 1 is 12, so you can still get away with 8 here. You can't get away with 7, because you couldn't make this add up to more than 11. You could make it add up to 11 then. Right. Okay. Oh, this has been available ever since this cell. Right. Where does this one extend? It can't extend there because you can't put a 1-2 pair in this column anymore. So yellow was there. Aha! And this is beautiful because that one sees that one. So that's 2, that's 1, that's 2, which means that's a 2-cell cage, which we will make. I was going to say yellow. Maybe that's safe. Because this one's finished now. We can actually, let's pick black and ring that with... This cage is finished because we know it can't be a 3-cell cage. It would add up to at least 6 if it was. This square is a 3. Because if it was anything else, it would add up to 6. And it must add up to less than 6. This is beautiful. And I was actually going to say, so far, not too difficult, but that's probably a silly thing to say. 2 goes into one of those cells. 1 goes into one of those cells. The 18 cage, the 18 cage needs more cells. Because it does. Because it could never have only been 2 cells. 8 and 9 only add up to 17. Now what do we do? That digit is now at least 4. So whenever the loop enters this cage, wherever this cage ends up being, the loop cannot leave this cage until it's done at least 4 cells and taken at least 4 cells along the line or in the blue cage. Golly gosh. Okay, what do we do now? This is literally the moment after I said so far it's not been that difficult. Okay, here is a small point, which I'm going to use. The loop takes 2 cells in this less than 6 cage because of this 2 clue. So that, I think, means that the loop has to do this. Actually, maybe I should use a different colour other than black, because if I'm going to outline the borders in black, we probably don't want to sully ourselves with too many black lines in the grid. Oh yeah, okay, here's another small point. This clue is a 2 or a 3. Now, therefore, even if it's only a 2, you must always have, this is always a loop cell, isn't it? don't really know. Maybe I'll put a circle around that to tell me that's definitely on the loop. Because if the loop comes in from that side, it would have to get at least to here. And if the loop comes in from this side, it would get at least to here. Even if this is a 2. This might be a 3, in which case all of those have to be in. Now... this is a 1. So that means there is a corner, I think, of the loop in one of these 2 cells. Because if this cell was in the loop, that one would be outside the loop, so there would be a corner. And if it was the other way round... Ah, right, here is a small point. Let me just double check the rules. There was something about if two cells share an edge but are in different cages, at least one of them must be visited by the loop. That's beautiful. Right. So that is wrong, I think. Because if this was the situation, i.e. this is loop and this isn't loop, because this is across a border, this has to be loop, but the loop can't get out of the corner then. And it most certainly won't be a loop then. It will just be a line that strands itself forlornly in the corner. Not worthy of songs. There wouldn't be songs in the dwarven halls sung about a line just ending in row 9, column 1. Now, that's very good for us, though, because that means that this cell is the loop cell. So the loop goes like that, and it can't touch. It can't be a tiny loop, because we know the loop's got to get into other parts of the universe. So this is right. So this is not loop, but this is a border. So that's loop and that's loop, and this is a corner. This is lovely. Now the loop must go here because it can't close. Aha. And that means that cell is red, because this cell, which is counting how many red cells are on the loop in red, is not a 1 or a 2, and I've got 2 so far. So given the loop goes there, in fact that is a 3 then. I think that is a 3. Because I don't... yeah, that's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. That's absolutely brilliant. So Jay has put a 3 in the corner in the Maverick-themed puzzle. Yeah, okay. And I think this is a 3. And that's because even if red comes along here... Oh, no. Well, actually, I'll finish the thought. Even if red came along here... we can see that the loop is going into blue or purple next. So its number of loop cells in red is definitely only 3. But I've just realised that if that was red, the loop would enter red here, and it would enter it again here. And that's not allowed. So actually we can do better than this. Let's go back here. That is the full extent of the red region, which is a greater than 17 region. So these 2 squares add up to at least 15, which means they're either, well, they're at a minimum of 6, 9 or 7, 8, but they could be anything as large as 8, 9. So this is a maximum of 20. Now, do we know... I was wondering whether I could say that this couldn't only be a 3-cell cage then, because... No, but if that was 18 and that was 18, even if this was 20 and that was 18, that could be 1, 2, or it couldn't be... Oh, hang on. Right, the minimum sum of those digits is 9. The minimum sum of these digits is 18. That's 27. So the maximum sum of these digits is 18. Oh, and that works. Of course it does. Although, I'm going to change tack then as Maverick. Maverick obviously celebrating the fact that we're on the highway to the danger zone. If this 18 cage does end, here, so it's a 3-cell cage, then this would have to be 189 because there is a 1 over here. And that's going to mean we couldn't make those squares add up to 18 because these would be 6, 7, 3 as a maximum, and that's not enough. So actually that cage does extend at least to here. Now, what does that mean? Oh, my phone's buzzing. Okay, alright, that's a fine. It's a message, but it's not something I need to do right now, so I can continue on my journey. How long have I had? Half an hour. That's fine. That's fine. We're in good shape. We're in good shape. We could still achieve. Right, 3 by Sudoku is in only one of 2 places up here. This square is at least a 4, and that's cluing however many cells there are on the loop in purple, but actually purple, we already knew that this was at least a 4-cell cage because the minimum it can add up to is 29, which would be 5, 7, 8, 9. Although weirdly it couldn't be a 29 4-cell cage because the minimum digit in it would be 5. Which would imply there were 5 cells in the cage at least that were on the loop in a 4-cell cage. That doesn't work. So there are paradoxes that are cropping up in this puzzle to do with the sort of size of cage you can have given the digit you put in the caged cell. Oh, sorry, I've got nothing at the moment. I'm just trying to think about what I'm meant to be looking at. This cage is completely penned in. So what I want to say is that this cage is using up. It's going to have one of its exits, or one of its entries, depending on how you want to look at it, into blue, and one of its exits or entries into green. Because what we can't do is go into green twice, for example, because that would close the loop, because we're only allowed to visit green once. So if we go into green, we can't go off on a merry trail and then go back into green again, having built a big loop. We have to stay in green and complete the total of green, which ironically could be 2. So what we can't do though is that, because although if this was a 2 that would seem correct, obviously that would close the loop. So one entrance, so this goes into green and into blue, and then green could go into blue, or green. Oh no, hang on, that's not right. I was about to say green could go into blue or orange, but actually I've now noticed green could go into yellow. It could go into this yellow. Or it could go into one of these 2 squares. Although, have we built green? No, we haven't even built green yet. So green could go anywhere. Green could go anywhere. Right. How about, is it now possible to say that this can't be a 5-cell? If this was a 5-cell cage, without a 2 or a 3 in it, no, it can't only add up to 18. Because it would have 4, 5, 6, 7 in it as a as a minimum, along with the 1. And 4, 5, 6, and 7 add to 22, I think, plus the 1 is 23. That's too many. That's definitely higher than 18. So actually, this is quite cool. So yeah, it's limited in very strange ways, this 18 cage. These are limited by this to not being enough, which extended it, but then it can never take this cage because of this 2-3 pair. So actually this is forced to just end, which is a little bit interesting. So I've now got, okay, so maybe this is 4, 5, no, 4, 5, 6 is 15, 16. Okay, so there's not that much freedom. If we could force a big digit into this 18 cage, it would be very interesting, because it probably then would have to be 1, 4, 5 and that big digit, which would be 8. I can't have a 9 in it. It can't have a 9 in it. Okay, so there's a 9 over here. That's interesting. Or not. No, it doesn't do anything. Right. Okay. So do I know what this is somehow? I don't know. I know that this goes into green. Then it would go into... this is complicated. That cell is at least a 4. So it would be... I can't quite get my head around it, but I'm wondering whether green can go into blue. Because if green goes into blue, it's going to do it in one of those 2 cells, isn't it? And once it goes in there, because this square is at least a 4, I'm just wondering how we deal with orange then, is the question. Because orange then, if green goes into blue, orange does not go into green. Right, okay, so that would actually mean that we would understand the nature of orange. Yeah, so if green goes into blue, green is finished. Green has no more entries and exits for the loop. So orange only touches 2 other colours. It touches yellow, so you'd have to have this as a boundary, and it touches blue. I don't think that works. I just don't think it works. It's quite complicated. The reason I don't think it works is that... So if green goes to blue somewhere around here, green is finished. Orange can't go into green, so orange has to go into blue, and it has to go into something else, because it can't just go into blue or it will create a loop. So orange goes into yellow. Once that happens, this is at least a 2, so we go that way. We then go up. This is the best case. But the longest string of blues I could create there, and that's even if the corner is blue, would be 3, not 4. That's quite complicated, but I think it feels right, doesn't it? So if green doesn't go into blue, what are we saying? Are we no, we're not saying... no. No, okay, I'm still not sure I know very much more about what green does then. I know blue. No, all blue. The thing is, these massive regions touch so many other regions. Do I know the loop doesn't go into the corner then? That's probably something I do know. If the loop goes in the corner, Yeah, because whatever this is, whether it's blue or green, that's going to cause a blue-green connection, which we've just proved can't exist. Right, so that cell in the corner is not in the loop. Now that means that the loop, imagine this corner square was blue, then this square would be green, and because that's crossing a boundary and one of the cells has to be in the loop, that would be a corner of the loop. But if it's the other way around and this cell here is green and this is blue, that boundary needs to have one loop cell, which would be there. Right, so we're learning that that's in the loop. That's beautiful. I mean, I don't know what it does, and it may not do anything, but I'm convinced that this is a loop segment. Now, well, right, here's an interesting thought. So if this is a loop segment, then that can't be a 3, because the 3s are over here. So it would have to go there, there. We know it's going into yellow, because yellow has to go into green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or 6. That would be a 5 or a 6. If this goes across this boundary here. If, on the other hand, it goes up, then this square is at least a 4, so we have to stay in there. We don't know where this would go. This is really confusing. Because it then depends what that digit is. If that digit is 2, well, actually, maybe that's the way to think about it. If that digit is a 2, then that loop segment, which I should not take out because this is true, if this is a 2, then green and blue have an entry and exit. So then green would be joined. Green would be between orange and yellow in the loop. But I wouldn't know whether it was that or that was the segment. Although, no, well, that would work very nicely if this was a 2. Then it could do that. I've just had another thought, actually, which I'm going to segue into. We know that yellow goes into blue. Yeah. That cell's a 1 or a 4 by Sudoku. And when I say by Sudoku, it's also by this cell cannot be more than the number of cells in blue. Because if it was 5, it would be saying there were 5 loop segments in this 4-cell region. That's not true. So that's a 1 or a 4. Now, if it's a 4, everything in here is a loop segment. And we... Alright, here's a thought as well, which I think is right. Surely I can do that. Because blue can't go into green, because yellow goes into green. So that would create a blue, green, yellow mini loop. So the yellow region goes into blue, and then blue goes somewhere else. But right, how does it go somewhere else? Because it could go... The thing is, it depends where this junction happens. This is very confusing. It's very difficult, I think, to know exactly what's going on here. I mean, if we go like that, That's got to go in there. Then that's got to be a 4. But if we go like that and in, then we can't go there because we can't fulfill 1 or 4 then and get out. We'd have to fulfill 1 and then go there or there. Okay, so it is complicated, but it's not impossible. So what we're now saying is that the exit from this region is either there or there. Right, but that's great. That's absolutely great. The thing I wasn't appreciating, but I have just appreciated, is surely this is saying that red doesn't go into blue. Because for red to go into blue, red would have to either immediately evacuate or pick up 4 blue cells before leaving blue. Well, it can't pick up 4 blue cells if it's come in the middle of it. So that's legitimate. That's legitimate. We mustn't close the loop. So that's doing this. This now, so now this. Well, no. Right. I can't just exit from the 28 into blue because I'd only taken 1 cell in purple. And one thing we know is that that's at least a 4. So I've got to stick in purple on the loop, having just entered it here for 4 cells. And we know, do we then, that yes, we do know this is not purple. Because this is not purple for a very good reason, which is that if it was purple, then we'd have created a small loop again, because we'd have gone from yellow into purple and from red into purple, and then that would close the loop. So this is different. So purple goes here. Now, does that mean that's not purple? If that's purple, I'm not sure. I think it's true to say that green goes here, but we've got to stay in here for at least 4. So what we can't do is go up there now with the loop. That's wrong. Because we know then that this would join like this, and this cell would be a 3 at maximum. So the loop doesn't go up. But I'm not sure that means this isn't purple, because maybe the loop could do that, and this would be a 5 if all of these were purple. I'm not sure. I think it's legitimate to say that's purple, which means that this one needs to get to a clue, so that's got to be blue. Yes. Okay. Here's a question. What clue cell does that join to? Maybe it can get to this one. Actually, I hadn't realised that there's greater than 1 clue. Or what if these were 45s? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I can't get there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No. Oh, good. Right. I think my original conclusion is still okay. What does this connect to? If it connects to the 19 clue, it must be at least a 6-cell cage. And the triangular number for 6 is 21. So it can't be part of a 19 cage. If it connects to this, that's at least a 5-cell cage, which would have the triangular number for 5 is 15. And 15 is definitely greater than 9, which is the absolute maximum size of this cage. So this blue cage is the same as this, which means that is part of blue. So now this square, right, this is good. That's got to join up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is at least a 5. 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. I think, no, it can't be 9 because that's less than 45. So if it was 9, it would have to equal 45. And this is at least, like, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That one could be 9. Because greater than 28, I suppose, could be 45. And from here, what we can say is, I haven't got a clue. Haven't got a clue. Do we know? Sorry. We could Sorry, I realised I just stopped talking. I mean, this sometimes happens in very hard puzzles. My brain's just, I feel like I'm almost awash with information here. There's a lot going on in this puzzle. And I'm not sure where I should be devoting my time. If that's a 4, there would be a 4 and a 1 in my 18 cage. They would add up to 5, which would mean the other two cells would add up to 13 without being 4, 9. So they would be 5, 8 or 6, 7. And that is as useful as a chocolate teapot. What about... I would like to know which way this went. Actually, let me think about that again. I think we proved it could go that way, and we thought about whether it could go this way. Depends what that digit is, doesn't it? That would be a very useful digit to know. I don't think Sudoku is going to tell me that digit. Although it's very difficult. Right. Actually, I was about to say something about this digit, but it's got me thinking about another digit. Here's a question for you. If that's a 3, where do I put 3? Can I get there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I can. That's that one place it will go. Wow, okay. So my question was, I was thinking about where well, it's this general question actually. Well, it's very powerful with 3. I was thinking about where 3 would go in green. If that's a 3, obviously this cell, by its nature, it sees all those cells. And then if green extended along row 5, this 3 would take care of any 3s there. So the only cell, I think, and this 3, obviously, so 3 here knocks all of these cells out. This 3 knocks all those cells about. So we've got to get this green cells, this green region somewhere. Now I think that would force the corner not to be green. Because if the corner was green, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we'd only have one cell left, and both of these would see a 3 here. But if green started here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we could just get to there, and that would be a 3. That would have to be a 3. Okay, and then I think that would have to be green then. Because I don't think this, in that situation, this cell here could be purple, because we could never get... Did we need to get purple up here? Maybe we didn't, I can't remember. I've got to be I've got to be careful here. No, it's fine, isn't it? That's fine. Doesn't matter because green's going to go in there, but then this one needs to get out. Oh, I tell you something I can draw now. That line segment is valid, I think, isn't it? Because how do we get out of the 18 cage? We go into the 18 cage from yellow, and then we don't seem to be able to get out of it to the south. Yes, this was impossible. Whoopsie. Because that would have put a 1 into this cell. So that's forced. Now that is interesting actually, because that means this cell, here we go, this cell is not green. Because if it was green, imagine how the loop would move. It would move from green into yellow, into blue, back into green again, and that's going to create a small loop, which we mustn't do. So I think I can do that. And I've got to give this a different colour. Now, I did know earlier this could be purple if the purple does this. But it's definitely not green. So does green 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it takes that one, 7. Green does go there. Right, now yellow has got penned in. So yellow's got to grow. This is quite a big region, 36. That's quite a big region. That's at least a 17. So that comes across. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Blue comes over here, whether or not it takes this one. Grey we worked out earlier couldn't be a 7-9 pair, so grey grows. Oh my goodness. Simon, quite contrary. How does your garden grow? We have been growing our gardens. Oh, this is great. This is great. Right, so I'm going to come back to my 3 question now, because that region, whatever this region is, whether it's if it's purple, then obviously this is also purple because purple has to connect its loop up. But if this is something that's not purple, let's just make it black. Black has to get here. So whether green goes there or not, if green takes its last cell, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there, it still couldn't have a 3 in it. Because this 3 does see that cell. So this cannot be a 3. Because you couldn't put a 3 in green. So that's not a 3. So this is a 3. Right. And I was about to protest about how annoying that was. Because it didn't do anything, but it does do something. Now that's not a 3. Because if that's a 3, where do you put 3 in this region? This cell sees all those, and any extension thereof in this direction, and this sees all those, and everything there. You couldn't put a 3 in blue, so that's 2. That's now 9, because we need to get to at least 12. This is... Ooh. Right, okay, now this is also very interesting, because this is now off the loop. Because we worked out earlier those 2 had to be on the loop, so this is now saying they're the only 2 on the loop. So let's go back here. That's got to be off the loop. That crosses boundaries all over the place. So all of these are on the loop. These are both in the same region, so we've got to connect those up. So we can get rid of those now. That's forced. And that's forced because we can't go into orange. Oh, this is close now, isn't it? We're close to a breakthrough. Now, so orange we now know does go into green. And orange does go into blue. Yeah, that looks very likely to do this to me. And then I could put a 2. Oh, I can't. No, hang on. I can't put a 2 there. Oh, look, I might be about to change my mind entirely. Right, I am going to change my mind entirely. How does this line segment now work, ever? I've got to get into yellow. I can't do it like that, because that would require a 2 here. I can't do it like that, that would require a 2 here. And I can't do it like that, because that would require a 3 here. This is absolutely breathtaking. So that's not possible. So this is now a corner, that goes up. And now, didn't we say we were taking one of these 2 squares on the loop? I think we did. It's now not that one. So we've got to take that one, that one. We've got to get into yellow somehow. So what is this? Well, we can't go in now because that would require this to be a 3, which it can't be. So we've got to carry on. And we've got to get at least to here because we can't get in there diagonally from there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is possible, is it? Let's put 5 in as an option. And have a look at the Sudoku implications of that. Bobbins, okay. The problem is I think 6 is also possible, and that would cause this to drop down further and go in there. That's very, very annoying. Okay. Right, so but do I now know this colour? I think I might do. The loop's been forced into green here. So if this was if this was green, that would be a boundary, and one of these would have to have loop in, and neither has loop in. So the only way this can work is if this is blue, I think. If that's blue, this is a boundary, so there has to be loop in 1, and there is. And this is a boundary, but there is loop on the other side of the boundary, so that's okay. Right, alright, so we get that situation. This cell is now presumably the critical one, because 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look, I've done all of blue, so I can rule off blue. Like that. Have I done all of green? I suspect not, because I've just lost the ability for it to be that one. No, I've got one more green to take. I very much doubt it can be this cell, though. Didn't I prove it couldn't be this cell before? If that's green, what is this? Nothing. It can't be green, and it can't be purple. Yeah, that's not right. So green must go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now we've done all of green. Let's make sure that's delineated clearly. It's nearly quite difficult to put 2 into green. Right, but the thing I think presumably we do now is we extend yellow. And that extends, does it? Yeah, it does extend red. Because if this was a 2-cell sequence adding up to 17, well, this would have to be an 8-9 pair, which would suggest there were 8 or 9 loop cells in the 2-cell region, which is a paradox we cannot live with. So this goes at least to here. Okay, now we ask Sudoku, where does 2 go in the blue region? And this 2 knocks all those out, so it's got to be in one of those 3 squares, and by Sudoku it lives in the corner, so that's not a 2. So 2 is in one of these 3 squares. Oh, Oh, it's really... All right, 9. Where's 9 in blue? 9 is not there. 9 is not here. So 9 is in a domino, which means 9 is down there. All right. Okay, and that digit has to appear in blue. And where does it go? It must go in here as well. So these are from 5, 6 and 9. Which is a little bit interesting, but probably not everything we were hoping for. Right, where does the loop go once it comes here? It doesn't go back into green because that's going to create another loop. Because we know that this is coming. In fact, you can see it, nothing can ever go back into green now, because green is going to go into yellow in one of these squares. Oh, hang on, I've just realised something. I've got lots. There's loads of stuff going on. Right, look. Green goes into yellow either here or here. So these two squares are definitely not in. They haven't got any loop in them. So any borders with these cells have to contain loop. And now, and I've just realised this is a corner here. So I think, no, I was about to extend this, but that's not going to be true, as it's possible that could do that if this is a 1. Which might be, I don't know if that's possible or not. I don't think I can rule it out. But we know this. We know that nothing goes back into green. So this loop has to continue. But then we don't know whether it does this. See, my feeling is that both of these are purple. That's going to be it, isn't it? And then the loop will go in here, into blue, into purple, round the corner, and then we deal with the right side of the grid. Okay. Wow. It's ridiculous that this is settable. Imagine somebody on a desert island said, here's a rule set, now create a Sudoku puzzle out of this. You know, normal minds cannot do this. Now, my normal mind cannot solve it. What do I do now? I don't know. Do I... I've got nothing. I've got no idea what I'm meant to do. What is it? If... Can that be a 1? Absolutely, I think. This square, 1, 2, 3, 4, is at least a 4 now. Because there are 4 loop cells already in yellow. Oh, actually, hang on. Do we know? Yeah, here's a point. Sorry, this is obvious as well. Yellow, we know, is at least 6 cells. So it's got to keep growing. And that's a loop. Ah, there you go. There's another little tiny deduction that leads to something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is now at least a 5. So it's 5, 6, 7 or 8, I think. I mean, is 8 actually possible? If it was 8, this would be an 8-cell region that would include every digit apart from 9. And its entire region would be looped. I don't think that's a problem. My first feeling about that is that that isn't a problem. Okay, sorry. I don't know. Okay, what do I do now? I don't know. This green region has got to have every digit in it. Oh, I see. All right. Okay, so we do more Sudoku is what we do. Where does 2 go in green? Not there because of that 2. Not there because of that 2. And not, whoopsie, here because of that 2. So that is a 2. Let's get rid of the, I think we can get rid of the X in this square now. Because we've put in our circles. We can get rid of the X in that square as well. So 2 is now down here by Sudoku. 2 is now, no, 2 is in one of 2 places in box 8 by Sudoku. How are we doing for time? Not bad. Ooh. Got 40 minutes left before I have to depart the building. Does this look 40 minutes from being finished? I think not. I hear you all cry. Would you say I've done half of it? I don't know. Given the first parts of puzzles are normally harder than the last parts, I might have done half of it. Okay. So what on earth do we do now? I don't know. 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. That square I think has to be 4, 5 or 6 now. We've got 4 loop segments and we can only get up to a maximum of 6 loop segments, so I think that's 4, 5 or 6. That's the world's most terrible deduction, isn't it? What about... I don't know. I've got nothing here. I don't know what to do. I can't... I've got a horrible feeling there's either some meta deduction going on where I could determine the broad structure of how the loop connects. I should give this its own colour. Actually, that's a sensible idea. Let's give that orange, because it won't... Yeah, actually, look, I've not delineated that one properly. I was just looking at that thinking it looks like it's still open-ended, but it shouldn't be. Yeah, and I can actually draw a little bit of this one in as well. Like that. Oh, okay. There's a tiny point. Where does... Oh, that can be a 1. Ah, no. Okay, my tiny point is completely redundant. I was going to say, where does this digit go in green? Thinking that was a clever question, because this couldn't be a 3, and it couldn't go in any of those cells. So I thought it was going to go in there. But, of course, if this was a 1, it makes no appearance in green. So that logic is completely and utterly bogus. Bobbins is the expression that we're looking for. Alright, let's try this a different way then. Where does... No. Oh, maybe those two then. Yeah, okay, I'll do those two. Where do those 2 digits go in box 4? Now, they can't repeat in green, so they don't go in green. They are not 2 and 3 because they've gone from the box already, and they don't go in their own column. So those 2 digits go in those 2 squares. I don't really know how to... I'll use letters, I think. Oh, golly. Actually, what we'll do, we'll go small letters. We'll do A and B. And these are A and B down here. So A and B go there. Now, is that interesting? Is the next question on our menu of things to think about. Okay, all right. I'm going to carry on with this. Where does that digit go in green? Now that cell, I think, sees all of those cells. This cell can't be a 1, and it can't be a 2, so it goes there. There we go. This is getting a little bit interesting. So what are we left with then? We're left with these 2 cells that we've not... that they'd have to go in green, don't they? Well, that is in green. That has to go in green. Hang on, where does that... this is a good question. Where does that go in green? Yeah. Where does that go in green? Let me call it D. D for dynamite cell. D for Dyer. This is the Dyer cell. Because where does that digit go in green? It has to go in green because it's not a 1. Now, it's not these cells. These are all in its box. It's not equal to C or 2. So it goes in one of those squares. D lives in one of these squares. But one of the... Oh, I was about to say one of these squares is a 9. I thought I got a 9D pair. I don't think this matters for the point I wanted to make, which is that by Sudoku now, where is D in this box? D is down here. And that means D is 6. Because D is not... I can't put 4 and 5 in here, because these had to add up to something high from what we did earlier. So D is 6. And that might do something. Gives me a 5 here amongst... Well, that does something. Maybe actually the 6 does something as well. Hang on. The 6 means I have to spend six units of time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in blue. Now this 16 is penned in. The 16's got to have... So this square now has moved up. In fact, that square's at least a 4 because it can't be a 3. Yeah, this is lovely. Okay, so blue... Oh, sorry, blue? I'm highlighting it going, blue. No, not blue. Red goes there at least, because it's got to get out. It's not equal to that, it's not equal to that. And we've got to stay here, because this is at least a 4. I mean, we may have to carry on in red, but... I'm not sure what that means for the 16, but what I want to look at now is this 5, because that is telling us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We exit now, which means that once we get to this 3, we can't make this a 4 clue now in the L tetromino here. So we must make it a 1 clue, and that's giving us a digit here, which is 1. Which doesn't have to appear in green, so that's not very exciting. Okay. Oh, sorry, I thought this was going to be absolutely amazing. Which was the D digit? This one. So there is a 6 in one of these. Yeah, okay, this is still important, isn't it? Because if there's a 6 here, and there is now a 6 here, by force. So this is 3, 6, and 9, because this has to get up to at least 18. So we actually know what these digits are now. This is a 6, 9 pair. So this is not 6 or 9. So this has come right down in terms of its options. So what's going on in box 1? We've got 4s, 7s and 8s to place. Oh, so if that was a 4, that would be a 7-8 pair. What was this digit? That's that digit. Yes. All right. Well, that's still useful because if that's 4, 7, or 8, I've got a 4, 7, 8 triple in this box now. So okay. So now I need to put 9 in this box. So this is 6 and 9. They're the digits we've not put in. There's never a 1 in here. Remember. So this is 6, 9. That's not 9. So 6, 9, 6, 9, 6, 9. It's all working. But do we now know 5, 6, 7? Here's something I hadn't thought of before. There is definitely a 4 in this 18 cage. Don't know where it goes, but there is a 4, because if there wasn't, the minimum digits here would be 5, 6, 7, and they add up to 18 on their own without including the 1. So there is a 4 in here. So it is... this is it. We've done it. Right, so now we know the makeup of this cage, because it's 1 and 4, which are 5, plus 2 digits that add up to 13 that aren't 4, 9 and are not 7, 6. So this is 1, 4, 5, 8. That's massive. 1, 4, 5, 8. 5 we now know where it goes. So that's not 5. Oh, that might affect this one's ability to be purple. We'll think about that in a minute. This is now 4, 8. So that's a 7 apparently. 7 comes out of these squares. I've got a 4, 8 pair in row. That's the same as C, which is that digit. Oh, 6 here is doing some work here. This is now a 5, 9 pair in the top row. In fact, let's have a quick think about blue. What have we not put in blue yet? We've got to put in 3 more digits that are from 3, 4, 7 and 8. So that's what the options are for those squares. So no, we don't get anything from that. Well, what does that... Something's in here that's not 6. There's a 6 in one of those 2 squares now. And that digit can't appear in there, but must appear in the row. So these squares are from 4, 6 and 8, and one of them is definitely 6. Right, but I was thinking about, there was something else I was thinking about. What was that? 4, this is 4, 7 or 8. Oh, yeah, that's a 7. By Sudoku, we've done everything in this box. So the only way this can be purple now is if both of these are purple, because we have to take all of the purple cells on the loop before we leave purple. But there's no way to get into this cell without going directly. And that would require this to be 5, which it can't be. So I think this is now forced to be orange because it can't be anything else. And that means this cell is at least a 3, so we've got to stay, that's a loop cell, so we've got to stay in orange. So we can get rid of these 2 cells now. In fact, I suppose we can do the same here, can't we? We know what the loop is doing. So we can get rid of the circles. Get rid of that. We've done that clue. This clue, you can't get to that square on the loop, but that doesn't tell us anything new because we've already managed to get the loop into these 2 squares. Do we know? Oh, well, now this purple's got to be a big region. It's at least, well, if this was just 3 cells, this would have to be a 7, wouldn't it? No. That's total. That's nonsense. That would be a 9, and that looks possible. Ah, bobbins. 3, 9, 7 do add up to 19. There would be 3 loop cells. That would work. Okay. This. Oh well, we've got at least 4 loop cells on this one, so that's got to come here. So that looks quite good, doesn't it? To do that and make this a 3 and this a 4. That would disambiguate my 8 up here as well. Okay, alright, but now we're getting stuck again. Bad news. This one, let's give that a... Right, I'm going to make that grey on the basis I can't see how those two would ever connect, because I've still got this one to colour in, which I'll make purple. Right, okay. I'm going to get rid of that from there because that's it's almost disturbing the clue. And now we've got to think of something else. And I'm far from sure I have any good ideas about what that might be. Sorry if you can all see it. I suppose what I could do, these squares down here are 4s, 5s and 8s. I don't think that's very useful. I can get rid of these circles because we've sort of already extended the loop through them. So this could very well be a 5. That would actually do my 5, 9 pair at the top. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we know? Can we work out now what the loop is roughly doing? Well, we do know the loop has to go into this 16 cage at the top, don't we? That's a thought. Oh, I see. Right, I've got something. Okay, where does that digit go in row 1? That specific digit, it can't repeat in blue, and it can't go in those 3 squares by Sudoku, so it goes there. And that is, okay, well that's a clued cell. Right, so that's not 7 or 8, because if this was a 7-cell cage, it would add up to a lot more than 16. So this is, right, so this is 3 or 4. This is 3 or 4. 1 in the top row is now over here. So if this, where does this one go then? Where does this one go? And what's this clue? That would be a useful thing to know. Yeah, this could be both. It could be 4 if that's a 4. Oh, that was nearly exciting, wasn't it? We nearly had a little breakthrough there. 1, 3, 4, 8. 1, 3, 4, 7 as well. 7 is in one of those 3 cells. At least this clue is definitive as well. I mean, in the sense that it is, you know, it's not a greater than or less than clue. 3, 4. There's definitely a 7 in this domino. I'm going to pencil mark that. There's definitely a 6 here. That's quite interesting. So there's definitely a 6 in one of those 3 squares. It's probably worth recording as well. How are we doing for time? Not great. I've got 21 minutes. Okay. I think this is going to be very... I think I might finish it now, which I'm quite pleased about. I mean, self-praise is no praise, but feels like I've sort of made steady-ish progress. We're not there yet though. 5, that's a 5-9 pair, so I can take 5 out of this square. Ah, that's quite interesting. So this is at least 6 now. So this has to have another cell of loop on it. Well, it's not that surprising. So wherever it goes next, well, if it goes in both directions, we then have a choice, but... Oh, here's a thought. This is quite a good thought, actually. 7 is in one of those squares in box 5, so that can't be another 7. So this is right down now to 6 or 8. 8 is the thing we want it to be. 8 would be fantastic. How do we do that? Greater than 16. I was hoping that for a moment I thought that said less than 16. Don't know why, but I was about to get very excited about the pressure that we would put on this cage then. But greater than 16, I mean, it could be going miles down the grid. Greater than 1. I mean, is that actually of any use? I suppose it's all it's really telling you is that this cell, or there is at least 2 cells, isn't it? That's what we're learning. If we do that, what's that doing? I'm just wondering if the fact is that can't be a single cell, because it would just have 1 cell in the loop. It would be a 1, and that would contradict its clue. So this is extending in some direction or directions. This stops here. I'm not sure. Would be quite good even to know that this needed to extend, because that would push yellow to go here, and that would push grey there, and that would put pressure on. That would do a lot of work, actually. Maybe that's the thing to think about then. Is there some reason? Why can't that be a 3? That's really what we're talking about. I don't know. The phone's going nuts. It's all right. No, I think it's just a WhatsApp flurry. I don't know if other people get that, but WhatsApp sometimes it just, you know, it's like it only checks every quarter of an hour or something, and if you've got loads of messages, it goes nuts. 5 by Sudoku is in one of those. Oh, that's big if that's true. It's Sudoku, isn't it? 59592. Yeah, that's a 259 triple. Sorry, that's been available for ages. And that surely is going to do something. That can't be a 9 because it can't have 9 cells in it if it only adds up to 19. So there is a 9 in my 16 cage now. And okay, I think what we've got to do is to pencil mark these 2 cells now. So let's actually set to that task. So we've not put 1 into these squares, so we've got 1, 4, 6, and 8. We've got to get to greater than 16. So if 8 comes out of here, well, the thing is that's easy. If this extends, it's very difficult actually. If that's 8, that's 4. So this would be a 1-6 pair. And in fact, that would have to be 6, wouldn't it? That would have to be 1, because we know this is at least a 4. 6, 1, 7. And then some combination there. But it's going to include the 9, so it's going to be higher than the cap. Right, that's okay. Or I mean, do I know where this connects? I suppose I do know. I know it depends if red goes up here. Oh, that's an interesting thought, actually. If red goes there... Well, no, maybe that's right, actually. Because then blue could go up here, go across here, go down here, or maybe into red. Red would go into yellow. Okay, don't know. Okay, oh, this is getting very complicated. What do we? How do we do this? Infuriating puzzle. And my minutes are ticking away, and they're precious. What's that? Less than 10 clue. Oh, golly, that would be useful if I knew what this digit was. I suppose it's got to be 1, 2, or 3, because it can't be 4. That would imply those 4 loop cells, which would obviously get us to 10 at least with a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple. So, okay. Is it this greater than 28 clue? Or is it this? I just don't know. This is at least a 6. Or maybe there's some reason that's illegal. Why would that not work? I'm just following the loop through. And that feels very correct, to be honest. It really does. No, I don't think I can rule that out. I'd love to. I suppose one thing we could do is I could actually just label up all the options for this square, given that we know it's at least a 3. It could perhaps be 4. It can't be 5. If it was 6, it can't be 6, can it? Because there can't be 6 cells in this region. So this is 3 or 4 only. That's quite interesting. Which do we want it to be? I think it's going to be 3. So if it was 4, why would that break? That would force the loop to here. Problem is, I don't really understand how the loop's developing at the top here. I've got to have 3 or 4 cells of loop in this, and we know one of those cells is not that. Then this one here as well. I don't know. Sorry about this. I realise that I'm probably frustrating many of you who can see the next step. If I could see it, I would be very pleased. But I can't. What could it be? It could be any... The thing about these puzzles is it could be any number of quite complicated things. Are there any cells in the grid that we know are not on loop, which we could use to tell us something about the world? I don't know. 5s, 2 5 9s, 4 8, So I know 1 and 6 are in here. I know this isn't a 1, I suppose, because we've already got 4 loop segments. But this greater than 16, it could have an awful lot of loop on it. Ah, 4, 6, 8, triple. Ah, there you go. There's a 1 here. Is that going to... Ah, there's no 1 there anymore. Oh. It couldn't be something like that, could it? That's really going to blow this open. I doubt it. But it's not impossible. So one of these two is 6 cells now. But I don't know which one. Oh, this is it. This is it. Right, this is huge. Because now in this box, where does 1 go? It's going to go there, and that's going to put pay to this being a 3. Well, no, that's not strictly true. It puts pay to this being a 3-cell region, is what it puts pay to. Because these don't add up to 19. So the 19 grows. Now if the 19 grows to here, we know that this grows because it's got at least 6 cells on the loop. So that goes there. We know this isn't a 1-cell region, so it goes there. I don't think we know about this, but that's a breakthrough. Now what does this mean? I can draw a black line here. As this, yeah, see, this can still move down, I think. 1 is now in one of 2 places in box 8. This is at least a 6. So actually it's not only the cage that extends, it's the loop that extends. And we've got 8, so we need 11 more. 11 more's worth of digits in this cage. Which is sort of interesting. How do we do that? I wish I knew. I don't know though. I don't know quite how to do it, do I? Okay, well I can tell you something. This isn't 8 anymore because they can't get 8 cells into this region. So this is down to 4 or 6. If it was 6, it would do that at least. And then this would have to get all its loop segments from below somewhere. 6. Oh, I've just realised something. This one is not a 1 or a 2. That's at least a 3. Right, hang on. Is that going to do something? Can I block this in? Let's think about that. If that's blocked in, what happens to the world? This then couldn't be a 5. This would have to be a 2. How would we do that? How would we get to 19? If this is a 2 and this square, there's no way of doing it, is there? 7. I can't see a way of making the cells add up to the right number. What I can tell you for sure is you take all of those as purple. Yeah, that doesn't work as Maverick flies past particularly low, because then I can't put 3 grey cells on the loop in this region. So this doesn't go here, which means it must go at least to there, which means if this extends, it now goes here, and that's going to push this region down. Yeah, I think we're getting closer here to how this works, aren't we? This is at least 3. would love to know. Yeah, you see, well, there's so much tension in the grid now. If we knew this extended to here, or indeed to there, if that extends to there, what's that doing to the loop? We mustn't close the loop down here. 2, 3, 4, but this could be a 5 still. Oh, this is so complicated. You have to have all the right thoughts in exactly the right order. Where does that digit go in this box now? That specific digit. Well, it can't repeat in its own cage, so it goes there actually, which is something I hadn't appreciated. Please let that. Oh, it does still add up to. I was hoping I would be able to get round the 11 possibility, and therefore force this to extend a bit. But no, it doesn't. I think this could be 3/8, couldn't it? And that would give us our 19 cage. I've got 5 minutes before I need to go. Oh no, I'm not going to finish it now. So I've got to relax about that. I've just got to accept that I've failed you all. I've failed myself. I've let myself down. I've let the Sudoku world down, and I'm very sorry. If I could I grow that some more? See, it's so much tension. Everything's got tension in it. These cells are the same, aren't they? It's definitely a 5 down here, but it's not in a useful cell. Oh, I don't know. I'm so sorry if you can all spot this. This is a 36. Oh, okay. That's not an 8. Because if it was an 8, there couldn't be a 9 in the cage. And then I couldn't put a 9 in that box. There you go. So that's 6. That's 4. That's 8. So that's 4. That's 3. That still allows the... Oh, no it doesn't, because that's a 6 now. Because we've got to put that digit in here. Wow. So, hang on. What's that telling us? What are these digits? 5, 7, 8, 9. Oh, this is beautiful. This is... Alright, look at this. Now this cage has got 35's worth of digits in it. And it adds up to 36. So that's a 1. And that is the end of the cage. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hang about. Right, what's this doing? Right, this is doing other things. 8 here gives me a 4 here. Which means this is 3. This is 3. Here we go. Now we've got rid of 3 and 4. We get a 7-8 pair here. So it was some beautiful Sudoku that Jay had arranged in this box that I was missing. This cage does it. Oh, that's a 3. So we've got to get out of the cage. Bingo. We come down here. That's now an X. So everything... Oh, we don't know where the cage goes. Bobbins. But we do know that's now a 4. Which means this is 7. So these squares here are 5 and 8. This 4 means we get 4 and 8 over here. So this is no longer 8. I don't know if it ever could have been, but... This is so exciting now, because I really don't think... I can't do it in 2 minutes, but I don't think I'm that far away now. It's a massive deduction, getting this digit. Come on. Come on, a little bit further, so we don't leave it at a point when we're stuck. That's 4. So this is as long as this needs to go into a different. It needs to go into a different cage, doesn't it? This is 3, and this adds up to 16 as well, which is something I probably need to think about. What are those digits? They are 1, 7, and 8. And these are definitely in the 16 cage. And I need 13 more. So okay, so there must be a 1 in here, because otherwise I've blown the total. So there's definitely a 1 here. There's no 1 in the corner. There's no one in the corner except me at the party. Okay, so now what have we got? We need 13. So if this is 1 and 8, we've got 9. We need 4, which we could get from there. If this is 1 and 7, we need 5, don't we? We do, and we can't get 5. So this is 1 and 8. And we get 7 in the corner. And we need this digit to be a 4 and to be grey in order to get to the total. 7 and 9 is 16. There we go. So that's a little bit bonus deduction. What's this? That's got to be purple, because purple, it must be. Do they add up to 19? No, there is no way they do. Even if I pick the highest digits, I only get to 18. So that's got to be purple. I've got to take 3 cells in grey without stranding the loop. So I've got to go like that. And then I don't know. Then it depends. The phone's still going mad. I've got to stop though. I do have to go. I did warn you, but I don't think I'm stuck. I really don't. I will be back. I will be back to finish the job later. Hello, I'm back again. That's only been a couple of seconds for you. It's been literally just under an hour for me. But I'm back at my computer. Let us have a look at what we were doing. We were putting loop up here. I've done the Sudoku associated with that. Typical. And now, what's going on at the top then? So we've got... This is... Okay. Yeah, I think that we've definitely got 9 in this 16 case. So it's got to be greater than 16. Okay, so the 2 gets thrust over onto the right hand side, and that does make this add up to more than 16. Now I've got to put 2 loop segments into the purple cage, and I can obviously see there's an easy way of doing that, but I don't know that I can assume that happens. Actually, how many have I got in the 19 cage now? I've got 15. So I've either got 2 more cells with a 1 and a 3. What's that 3? That's... Oh, no, right. Here we go. Look, well, let's just do it easily, Simon. There is a 1 in box 6 already, so this cannot be a 1-3 pair. That's not going to work. So I think this just has to be a 4. And that will do it. And now, and that's really important as well, because now if I do close this loop here, there's no way of reaching a 2-cell sequence, because I've only got 1 cell that's sticking down into box 6 that's going to be available for the loop. So the loop must go there, it must turn down, and it must stop there. So this cell is never in the loop, and what's more, we can outline the region, which is going to be worth doing, because now we can X this and X this. Sorry, when I say X, I mean O, in the sense that this is off the loop, so those must be on the loop, and this is a corner, which actually is beautiful. That's a corner. Right, so what's this done? Let's get rid of the O's now. The question is going to be what region is this part of? And the answer to that is I don't know. What have we got down here? We've got 17. Oh, no. Okay, so this orange region is collecting a 2 from one of 2 places as its final digit. I'm not sure if I can tell which way round that is. What's this doing? Greater than 1. That's just a comedy clue. Okay, let me think. Okay, typical come to a complete halt after a little flurry. That 3, 1, 2, 3, that's right. 1, 2, that looks right. So the loop now Yeah, okay, so the job is to connect this to this somehow. And that's the only job we've got left regarding loop dynamics. Right. 7 means that's not 7. So this is 5, 6, or 8. 7 in this box. Can we do any better? No, we can't really. Less than 10. This 4 clue, is that doing something clever? Oh, 4, yeah, alright. 4 is a bit more restricted. In this, 4 is exactly restricted. It's placed in the box, look. Yes, okay. I figured out earlier, didn't I? This wasn't a 4. So that's part of that deduction. Right, now what's that doing? That is plonking 4 in exactly one position in box 9. And we may, indeed we have done all the 4s. That feels like a tiny bit of a win. Okay. This little region, which I haven't given a colour to, I'm going to make it light green. I've not used that colour yet. Now, where on earth does that go? If this was a 3, we'd have to have 3 digits that added up to 9, wouldn't we, at most? But I think that looks very possible, because it looks like 1's still available. Wow, okay, I'm stuck. Oh, I've got 3 here, so this is 2. Sorry, that's an appalling oversight on my part. 2 is out of here, so 2 is in a little... this is massive. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, obviously, you know, these things happen when one is live solving. They are not perfect solves, as you're all familiar with. But now, where does this orange one get its 2 from? I think it's got to be here, and that's going to be useful, because therefore we've finished it. We can give it its outline. We can also, of course, x this square, which means that these 2 squares are now on the loop. Therefore, the loop does this. Don't know if it comes directly to here. Oh, I see. Yeah, now that's a new boundary. It's only just become a boundary because we've only just found out that orange didn't go down to this square. So that's now a corner. Right, so what's that done to the world? Let's get rid of the circles and try and understand what this means. This square is not a 3 or a 4. This is at least a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So, right, so grey has to extend to at least 5 cells, and possibly more if this is any bigger. Right, so where does 3 go in this row? 3 has to go here. That's just Sudoku. I was thinking I might get another 3 in the corner. That's definitely not going to happen. Okay, this 1 is doing work. Oh, there's loads of Sudoku I've missed. Apologies. I'll blame the fact there was a break in my solve. 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7, 9. I don't really know much about 5, 6s and 7s. That's not 2, obviously. That's not 2. So that seems to have to be 2. This is greater than 1. That's not helpful. Okay. These 2 squares are known. They're an 8, 9 pair. It doesn't mean we actually know the order of the digits, but we do know they're an 8, 9 pair. So if this isn't 5, then this would turn grey as well. I don't think that's... It doesn't seem to be hugely relevant, does it? What about... Okay, now this square can't be purple because it's got loop in it, and that would mean that purple has two, you know, more than one entrance and exit of loop. So that's quite, well, I'm not saying it's important, but it's interesting. Now, oh, I see. This is good. This is good. Okay, so now look at this clue. Greater than 28, and with a 4 here. Now, even if I put 7, 8, 9 in there, I'd only get to 28. So that's not enough purple cells. So that's purple. And if that's purple, it's not on the loop, which means it's... Oh, it doesn't give us anything. I was going to say it means it's an X, which means every cell around it is on the loop, but we've already proved that somehow. But what we can do then is loop that like this. Now, okay, so what does that mean? Does that mean anything really profound or not? 5. This square is 5, 7, 8 or 9. I'd love to know which direction this went in. I'd love to know if this continued. This... Yeah, I don't know. I suppose... Oh, hang on. Actually, I am going to think about the bald total for this. Because I've got a 1 in there. Oh, that's it. Okay. I've got to achieve, with this 5-cell cage, a total of 29, but 2 of the cells in it add up to 5, so the other 3 cells must add up to 24, and there must be 7, 8, 9, which means that's an 8. That's huge. That is huge. That knocks 5 out of this, and that's going to do damage. It's going to force this over. But this now has to be 1, 7, 9. Right, here we go. Here we go. Right, 1 comes out of here. It looks to me like there's only... Oh, there is only one place for 6 in the column. Now, if this is a 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that means that's going to have to be blue to achieve that. Which means that the loop continues. Now, does it then turn? It does turn because it's 6. So it must turn. Well, the weird thing is we don't know whether this is blue or not. It could be blue. But we do know that we then go into a cage that adds up to less than 10. But we do now, because we know the loop goes here, we know the cage must extend because it's got a 2 in its clued cell. And that therefore can't be a 9 or an 8 because they would add up to too many. So this is 5 or 7 and it's not 7. So that is 5. Now, can it have any more? Well, that digit is at least a 3. So it can't extend. Aha. Right, now we're getting somewhere very interesting. We do now know that there's an 8 in here and a 3, which we know the order of. So 3 and 8 go in. Oh, bobbins, does that not resolve? No, it doesn't. I've got 5, 7, 9 triple left in the column. Somehow. Okay. Alright, but we now know the bottom digits here, don't we? They're 5, 7 and 9 as well. That's not 7. Okay. Right, what else could we do then? We could say that 3 we can place by Sudoku. We've got this greater than 0 comedy cage in the corner. I think probably I'm going to have to pencil mark this column. Well, we need 5, 6, 7 and 9. So that square is 6, 7 or 9. So where does the 1 go in this row? Yeah, that's a reasonable question, isn't it? I think it's only got one possible place, which is here. It's not going to do anything. Oh, 7 here, that's useful. Why can't I see some of these numbers? It's like, I don't know, it's like I've gone totally blind. Right, that's a 5 now. So 5 comes out of all those squares. This 9 is useful. 9 comes, so I've got a 7, 8 pair left here, and a 7, 8, 9 triple left here. The 9 here does my 9 and 6 on the left-hand side of the grid. That square has become a 6. which doesn't do anything. These squares have got to be a 1 and an 8, which is done. Oh, okay. We're going to have an investigation, or whatever that means. Now, has this done it? Are we going to reach one of these comedy positions where we do all the Sudoku, but we still don't really know what the solution to the puzzle is? Quite possibly. 5 and 9 here. This column needs a 7, which seems to have to be there. That's 7, therefore. That's 8. That's 8. That's 7. That's 9. That's 9. That's 6. These two... We are. This is literally where we're going to end up. 5 and 6. So hopefully... hopefully the Sudoku is done correctly. And all we've got to do is to... look, the blue cage can't go there because it would have 2 5s in it. So that's the first deduction we can make. I see. This is a 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can actually extend to there at least the grey cage. That's lovely. Look at that. Look at this for a finish. Okay, so this 2, if the grey cage extended in any direction, 6 would repeat a 6 in the cage, 8 would repeat an 8 in the cage, and 3 would repeat a 3 in the cage. So that it goes no further than where it is at the moment. And that means that everything in this box is this cage, which we shall make fluorescent green. And now, what does that mean? Okay, I see what it means. And that gives us a 1 here, which means that this cell is the only cell on the loop in this box. And this actually feels like it's right, doesn't it? Because that seems... Let's get rid of the X's. Well, let's click tick. It says the solution is correct. The computer knows, so that is correct. The time is going to... So it's taken me 16 minutes longer. I think the time might be inflated because it's just been on my computer screen for the hour in between. So I've got no idea what the real time was. You'll have to work. Well, you will know. You can look at the video length. But my goodness me, I am delighted to have solved that puzzle. It's just one of those puzzles that it just makes you feel. It makes your brain feel inadequate, doesn't it? Because how can a human being set something that clever and that beautiful? It's an astonishing rule set. And yet it all fits together, and we used everything. I mean, we used everything. We used Sudoku. Rather too much of that in that, Jay. There was too much Sudoku. Less Sudoku next time. There was killer logic all the time, wasn't there? And geometry logic, like, where could those digits go? Come back. Where could those 2 digits, let's put colours, then I can highlight. Where could those 2 digits go in this box? That was sort of relevant. So we're constantly having to do geometry, constantly having to think about the way that the loop would move and entries and exits through cages. I had to use that funny rule about the corners, where a cell... We had a boundary, one cell wasn't in the loop, the other one would have to be in the loop. I mean, basically, it just required every trick in the book that, and by trick in the book, I mean, every ounce of the instructions needed to be brought to bear. And it's fantastic, and I'm not surprised people have had trouble with it, because it's taken me absolutely ages, but I enjoyed every minute of it. So thank you very much if you're still with me now watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope the bad Sudoku didn't spoil your fun too much. Let me know in the comments how you got on with the puzzle, especially if you tried it. I don't want to see anybody taking 30 minutes to solve this. Thank you very much. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.